I appreciate the compliment. I can't wait to go tell my wife that people think I'm juicy now. So I'm looking forward to that. But whoever asked that question, salute. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unlikely. And if there's anyone who appreciates showing up to the doorstep of an adversary during conflict, it's me. So I really appreciate when I see a wrestling company like TNA kind of take that to heart, which is why I am so excited that someone from the TNA roster is joining the show. Not only one of the best wrestlers in the world, but a wrestler that I can trust. Mustafa Ali, welcome to Unlikely. First things first, what's your suit budget like? Because you've been coming out to the ring looking amazing, brother.
Well, what is your introduction budget like? Because I might need to extend an invitation to have you start doing my in-ring intros, man. That was a hell of a call out there. I appreciate that. Suit budget, hey man, like you know how it is. If you believe in something, you got to show up like that. It's a very aesthetic based business. So if you feel like you need to be treated like $1 million, you got to spend $1 million. You got to look the part. So yeah, I appreciate that. A lot of compliments on the brown. A lot of compliments on the brown. Brown suits are hard to pull off. Brown guy, brown suit. So, you know.
Hey, you was out there shining in 4K. You was looking nice. I was like, yo, I appreciate that. And it also reminded me of in high school, we had to do, there was always the project where you'd have to show up on a random day during the week wearing a suit. And the whole thing was like, how different do you get treated in comparison to what you regularly wear? So I was like, yo.
It's true, man. Yeah, it's true. I get dogged on a little bit because, you know, most of the guys are coming straight from the gym. And don't get me wrong, I'm a sweatpant hoodie guy. You know, 6 days out of the week, just that one day, if it's a pay-per-view event, if it's a big show, you show up suited up because I just feel like it just commands the room differently. And that's what I do.
No, it's amazing. And I'd be remiss if I don't mention, of course, coming up, Bound for Glory, October 12th. You can watch it on TNA Plus. You can get your tickets at TNAWrestling.com. And a little showdown with NXT coming up as well, which we'll get to. But since this is the first time that you've been on the show, and I do want to thank you because a year ago you did respond to the email and say, hey, I can't make it, but we'll do it in the future. And timing's everything. So it worked out for the best. But you know, your journey and your story, the name of the show is called Unlikely. For me, it's unlikely as a kid who failed in high school and being able to have a show and talk to Stone Cold Steve Austin and all these different people. And that ethos of what this show and why it's named it, I feel like your career and your journey, especially these past couple of years, you're running the indies, your run right now, has been incredible. So this is me giving you flowers, and it leads me to my question, which is your work ethic is incredible. What's the biggest thing for your work ethic? Is it the family? Is it your kids, the wife? What is it?
That's a loaded question, and I'm sorry if I'm kind of rambling here. I think all of that, like your wife, your kids, even your personal wants, there's everything that has within a limit. Like, yeah, I want to go out and make this money and be a big star so I can provide for my family, right? But the flip side of that is that I don't get to spend time then with these people that I'm claiming that I'm doing this for, right? So I'm a man forever looking for this balance, right? But what drives me, and this might be like that super, super deep cut stuff. I'll give a small example. I have a student at the Chicago Wrestling Center, a professional wrestling course that I provide out here in Chicago. And he is a diehard fan of one Seth Rollins, right? Like he's just absolutely enamored. He believes that Seth is the man, and as he is. And those of you who know Seth's early run in the Indies, he went by the name of Tyler Black. So, you know, this kid's getting ready to make his debut, and he's like, you know, I really want to be called Johnny Black. And I asked him, like, what's the reason why? And he said, you know, Seth's like a huge influence to me. And I go, well, we got to ask Seth permission. And he was like, what? So I took a photo of him and I sent Seth a quick text. I go, hey, is it okay with you if this guy pays tribute to you with this? And Seth's response is, I would be honored. Now, to me and Seth, it's like a cool little like whatever. But the way this kid reacted,
meant the world.
I kind of like, and that's why I did it, because now the fire, like I saw it in his eyes, man. I'm not doing the story justice, and I feel like that's what I do. I went to TNA and I surrounded myself with people that I believe are capable of more. And I'm not only am I lifting myself up, I'm gonna be damn sure to lift them up. And I know that's kind of like a cheesy answer, but I feel like in wrestling, I want it so much, and I don't think I'm going to get it. But I'm going to make sure I try to give out as much as I can. Yes, I want it a lot, and I'm very, very, very blessed to have what I have. But if this is it, if this is my ceiling, if I should not walk again tomorrow, I will go down giving out as much as I possibly could to both like the brothers and the sisters and the next generation. So I feel like that's kind of where my mindset is. Sorry about the long ramble, but
No, I love it. And like that hits home so much of like, yo, I'm doing all of this for them while I'm halfway across the world and not spending time with them, especially with the kids and growing up and all that and the balance and the yin and yang. And you mentioned something about rising the tide of the locker room in TNA. And throughout these past 2 to 3 years, like I've been thankful for the relationship we've had and the people from TNA that have joined the show. And it's been cool to see the rise and see the different venues. And the one thing that's always stuck is the talk of the locker room and how close you guys are together, which makes the success that you guys are having that much better. For you stepping into that, was there an adjustment period? How has that changed? How is it now as you guys head to take on NXT?
I mean, it's like a ongoing joke between me and some of like the, I won't say recent, but the last batch of, major WWE cuts is like, wait, no one's trying to like undermine anyone over here type of deal. And it is still competitive. But yeah, the coolest thing about the TNA locker room is post show, everyone just hangs out. We're in the lobby. We take over a conference room and, a couple people are having a couple soda pops over here. A couple people are, cigar guys over here. But it's like everyone within that, there's still like their own little groups, but like everyone's just sitting there, just kind of vibing off each other. And it is a brother like Leon Slater's everyone's like little brother / child. We all look out for him. When the girls want to go somewhere, we make sure someone's taking them to get back. It's this very, very, very cool dynamic. I've personally never been a part of something as close as this. So I would say one of the best things about being able to be a part of the TNA roster is that familyhood, is that brotherhood.
And I mentioned the phrase timing is everything. And for you, you show up on NXT this week.
Right.
You talk about it and it happened somehow. The universe works in mysterious ways on the 2-year anniversary date. Out of curiosity, first and foremost, did you know what that day was?
I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I'm a very, very passionate individual, but I am not good with dates and numbers. And I think I actually got the number wrong. I think it's actually more like, and that's a little ongoing. Like, obviously this whole concept came from one Shawn Michaels. And as I was getting ready to go out, he insisted that I say the actual numbers. And I think he said 792 and I said 740. I'm not quite, I should have just said over 700 days, but but when someone throws something at you last minute, no, I didn't know, but once they brought it up, it was kind of a combination of this is what we're thinking. And I said, oh, but this is the story behind it, So it was that's the great thing about NXT, specifically Shawn Michaels and the head writers there, is they'll listen to your feedback. And if it fits in, if it makes sense, and if they can see what you see, because sometimes I see something and no matter how much I communicate it to you, Adrian, you just might not see it. Right. Yeah. So then is it really a good story? But as I start to talk about it, and then you can also see it, then it's like, oh, there's something there. So, yeah, to be honest with you, I did not know that it was the exact date. It was a little like kind of crazy. Like when we kind of looked up at each other when we realized it was the exact date, like, oh, how weird does the universe work? But yeah, what a cool opportunity I have to kind of write this story. Is Mustafa Ali cursed? Is it every time that it's his moment, something out of the blue happens? And I think it's a very cool dynamic, and I can't wait because the fans are buzzing about it. I was able to kind of like peep online to see what people are saying. A lot of people are rooting for me, so we'll see this Tuesday.
No, and it's just, again, the universe, this whole interview sounded like a damn Hallmark, and it's not the intention, but this is the way things work out, and your phone's blowing up, and you're like, well, what happened? And you're like, oh, snap. It's divine timing. That's a beautiful thing, and I'm curious for you, does it mean more that you are in this situation as a member of the TNA roster with this opportunity to win that belt from WWE and NXT?
I think the story itself stands alone. Like, I understand it's within the dynamic of TNA versus NXT, which is a very cool dynamic. Obviously, we have such huge matches: the men versus the women. The men versus the men, the women versus the men, the team TNA versus Team NXT. We have the Hardys versus Dark State title for title. But like this story itself, it's kind of standalone.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that we didn't need this outside entity coming in to still do the story. But within the context of the show, obviously it works. So no, I don't look at this opportunity and this upcoming showdown, so to speak, as like it means more because I'm a TNA wrestler, but the historical significance of it. I don't know if it's been done. I don't know if someone outside of WWE, not under WWE contract, has ever held a WWE championship. I don't know if it's been done. And if it hasn't been done, I would love to be the first.
Hey, and but we're gonna see it, and like you said, a lot of people are hoping for it. And some of the reports, and you brought up Shawn Michaels' name, is him being a huge advocate for you. I'm curious when the release happened. I guess was he the one who told you? What was that conversation like after once the decision was made?
No, Sean wasn't the one that told me. I was informed by someone else in talent relations. A very short phone call. There's nothing really to argue about. You're just being advised that, per the contract, they're able to release you. And I think I was a bit confused at the moment because that title match was literally that weekend. And not to make it a big sob story, but I went up and told my wife that I got this phone call, and TNA did a documentary on this, but like literally 5 minutes later, she received a phone call from her doctor informing her that her neck was broken and that she would need surgery. So obviously now my focus from myself goes entirely to my wife. So I think I was dealing with that. And then at that point, maybe an hour or so later, Sean had reached out and we had a great talk. What stuck with me is Sean said, "I'm not worried about it. You're going to land on your feet. And you're gonna go out there and kill it." And when someone I feel like a guy like Shawn Michaels doesn't need to say stuff like that. He doesn't need to say that he believes in you. He doesn't need to say that he's disappointed in the decision. I'm sure he's dealt with this numerous times if you just look at the industry. But to have a personal conversation with him and him to say some things that really, I'm a very confident individual, but it's always nice when someone that's considered the greatest of all time sees you as a talented individual. So yeah, and. But yeah, I mean, that was the context of it. Like I said, I think just because it was a 1-2 punch, instead of focusing on myself, my entire focus went on the health of my wife, which by the way, she's all good. Everybody don't feel bad. Everything's all right. She got a successful surgery and she's out there doing burpees and push-ups and handling 3 kids while I'm away. So she's a stud. Don't worry.
Hey, salute to her. One thing I do want to ask you is when I look at the TNA roster, you and AJ Francis stick out to me because the way you guys use social media, and this isn't a recent thing. You've been on it. You've been using it as a tool from my perspective. I mean, for it was 5-6 years, more than that. And I also think it's funny the way the landscape, like as wrestling's had this boom, obviously the online presence has changed from streamers to reactors, people doing interviews. We've always had podcasts and all this stuff. But can you talk to me about using social media as a tool? Because I think it's admirable. Like, yes, you have 2 hours, 3 hours every week for whatever show, whatever company you're on. But that doesn't mean that that's it. You have other tools to try to utilize and maximize things.
I promise you that I am an empathetic person. I can realize that there's struggles and there's hardships, and I will empathize with you. But when you clock in and you go to work, I don't have time for complainers. So, I won't name names, but talent come up to me sometimes complaining about not having a segment on the show or not having a promo or this getting cut. And I go, okay, and what are you going to do about it? Pick up your phone and go film that. I've had plenty of moments, in my WWE career where vignettes or promos get cut. That doesn't mean anything to me. I still have access, and this isn't a flex, but, social media wise, I have access to 2 million people if I post something on average, right? Isn't that what ratings are? So go post it. And the other thing you have to look at social media is it's a great proof of concept. If something does really, really well online and people like it or hate it, you get feedback. And then you can now present those analytics and that feedback to your writers, to your producers, to the boss. So there's literally, we live in a day and age where there's really no excuse. I understand not having access to a camera. Who does not have access to a camera? Who doesn't have access to Wi-Fi? Who doesn't have access to social media? So, when some talent come up to me and complain, I go, well, what did you film? What is your proof of concept? Like, why should this company invest thousands of dollars just in air an idea that you think might work. And I think you got to kind of sometimes check your ego at the door, despite where you've been or how much time you've been in, and just put out content. And if it works, it works. Like, I'm not good. And shout out to Indy Hartwell, who's a big TikToker person. I'm not good at that stuff, and she's making fun of me about that. But I can't do the they do the TikTok chats. I'm not that guy, but I will film, cinematic vignettes or do highlight reels, like, to really push home a story that I'm trying to emphasize on TV. Like, that's how I'll use social media, right? Or to promote whatever causes or fundraisers that I would like people to get eyes on. But yeah, social media is literally giving professional wrestlers specifically no excuse. Like, you're not on the show, cool, go post something, go make something happen. It's really on us.
Now, I love that. And this is the part of the show where I selfishly get to ask you a question I've always wanted to ask you. So first and foremost, before I get to it, I need to clarify. You have never had a one-on-one match with AJ Styles, correct?
No, I think the closest that I got to a one-on-one match was a triple threat match.
With The Miz on Raw.
AJ and Miz. Funny story, I got knocked out during that match. Which was crazy. So props to The Miz for taking care of me. AJ just caught me with something really, really high. So if you go back and watch it, you can kind of see there's a moment where I'm not there. And maybe this is a little bit too much inside baseball, but AJ was scheduled to win that match and then wrestle later that night. I don't know if it was for the U.S. title or Intercontinental, something like that. So AJ kind of left, like, me and Miz to kind of put it together and then kind of communicate that with him. And Miz defaulted to me too. He's like, you just put it together. So the guy that put it together kind of got rocked. And I didn't know exactly where I was.
That's a problem.
So everyone's kind of looking at each other like, oh. But somehow I don't remember the match, but I guess I was still kind of just on autopilot calling it. And if you go back, you can really see the Miz. Miz could see that I'm out. And I think we had this idea that he just kept slapping me to kind of wake me up. And he just saw it. He's like, I'm not touching you. And he refused to, it's because I was telling him to slap me and he wouldn't. And then we went to I still don't know how we did that 450 in the Styles.
So was that was planned? Like, first off, whose idea was it?
Yeah. 100. So my idea. You know what? I'll give credit, actually. Sean Daivari had asked if it's possible. And then I said it's not possible unless the Miz kind of, assists with it. So we had to walk through. So actually, I take that back. It was Sean Daivari, who's a producer now at WWE. It was his idea, I believe, to kind of, or the idea was that I land it and then AJ scoops me up and then I added the pop-up deal to it. But still, man, that's what you get when you have, three pros in the ring just kind of looking out for each other. Again, just like a little slip, nothing personal. I just saw AJ at his anniversary too, so it was really nice to catch up with him. And brother is jacked. Just
cock diesel.
Keeps getting bigger, bro. Yeah, it's wild. But I was telling AJ, like, oh, it's difficult for me to do something now. He goes, good, you're getting old. Now you know what it feels like, So I was like, yeah, I'm getting old too. But yeah, AJ's a man. It was a cool night. But yeah, I've never had a singles match with AJ Styles.
Okay, Kit, I want to speak this into existence because I understand Cena's retiring and everyone's focused on that. AJ's next in line. He's talked about it publicly a bunch of times. Yeah. He needs to come back to TNA. All right. And he needs to. Why are we only limiting it to one match? He doesn't have to just wrestle Leon.
A little retirement tour for AJ. Man, I can tell you what, just being backstage when he came out to his TNA theme with Get Ready to Fly. Like, it was such a cool moment. What a cool moment for Leon, who grew up, myself included, grew up as an X Division kid, Very, very cool, full circle kind of moment. And I'm glad AJ got to come back to an event and a jam-packed arena at Slammiversary. Just a very, very cool night, but even more so cool. I appreciate the kind words, but I also think I'm the guy at that stage where, like, as phenomenal and incredible as it would be to wrestle a guy like AJ, I just think Leon's on such a rise that, if I had to make the decision, AJ's doing one match. Selfishly, I want it. But for like a company branding and building place, I think you just put everything behind Leon, man. That guy's 21?
Yes, way to be a goddamn adult. We're going to close out with this. We got one final question before that. I want to let you know, again, Bound for Glory, October 12th. You can watch it on TNA Plus. Get tickets. Some still available, TNAWrestling.com. And, of course, the Showdown, NXT versus TNA on the CW coming up. And so every time I do my interviews, I have my paper, I have my questions, and then I do one last thing. I search the person on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Reddit, just to make sure I don't forget something completely obvious. This question is what I found on Reddit. For some reason, when you enter your name, one of the top topics, despite everything that's happened even just this week, is a thread that says, has anyone noticed how juicy he's gotten? Do you have a response to that?
How juicy he's gotten.
And it's not even, by the way, it's not an in-ring. You're not in the arena. Like, this is TMZ. You were just walking on the side. Like, I think you were finishing a workout. I don't know. Any response?
Yeah. I'll take the compliment. Yeah. Yes, I've gotten extra juicy. My wife is going to love to hear about this. I'm just going to add to it when I get. I'm like, yeah, the ladies were saying that I'm extra juicy. Yeah, man, I guess it's this with the wrestling school that I have now, and kind of like more of a, I don't want to say it was chaotic, but very much more like I'm in control of my schedule. So fitness, recovery, nutrition has kind of taken like priority in my life, you know? So my kids are off to school by like 8 a.m. So from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., I'm literally doing some form of cardio, stretching, meal prepping. And then in the evening from 6 p.m., you know, I leave my house at 6, but training starts at 7. I'm not back till 11 p.m. So I'm just, you know, Monday through Wednesday, that's my schedule, you know, and then Thursday I'm hopping on the plane to go somewhere, you know what I mean? So, yeah, fitness is kind of taking over my life. I appreciate the compliment. I can't wait to go tell my wife that people think I'm juicy now. So I'm looking forward to that. But whoever asked that question, salute. Thank you.
I've never closed an interview like this, but we'll close out this episode of Unlikely by saying, stay juicy.
Can you change the caption of the interview with Mustafa Juicy Ali? I'd really appreciate it.
There it is. Print out the merch. We're out of here. Thank you so much for the time, brother.
My pleasure.
Don't you dare be sour. Clap for Unlikely with Adrian Hernandez and feel the power.